really difficult for people who are sarcastic. Hey sailors, welcome back to Cruising as Crew. My name is Lucy, and today we are going to be talking about crew no-nos, so things that crew can get fired for. But before we start, please press like and subscribe for more cruise ship content, and if you have any video suggestions or questions, you can leave them in the comments down below or DM me over on Instagram at Cruising as Crew. But as for now, let's get into the video. So like most big companies now, it's pretty hard to get fired. You know, there's a lot of warnings that you need to have before they'll actually get rid of you. However, when working on cruise ships, there are a few things that you can do that will ensure that you will get kicked off straight away. Number one, missing the ship. So if you go out in port and you forget what time you need to be back on board, well, it's not going to end well for you. Now, if you're a little bit late, you'll get a slap on the wrist if you let the cruise ship know. You know, if you're, let's say the taxi's broken down and you message your manager and the security people and just say, I'm trying to get back to the ship as soon as I can, but this has happened, then they're quite lenient with you because they're like, you know what, shit happens. It's fine. However, if you completely miss the ship, that is automatic termination, as you might have guessed, and the cruise ship will leave your passport and your documents with the port agent, and that's you then, fired and left abroad. Drinking. So when you are working, the limit is 0. You can have no alcohol in your system. However, when you are off duty, you can have 0.05, which is basically 1 beer, the equivalent of 1 beer. So if you go over that limit, you run the risk of getting fired. And if you are over the 0 limit when you are at work and you get caught, you'll be fired. Now, as you might imagine, crew members do go over this limit occasionally, and they don't get fired. You only really get in trouble if you cause trouble. So if you don't turn up to work, you'll lay in bed because you're still pissed, that's trouble. If you're drunk at crew bar and you start a fight, that's trouble. However, if you just go and have a good evening in the crew bar and don't cause any trouble, nothing's really going to happen. However, I really don't recommend turning up to work drunk because it's more obvious than you think. And unfortunately, I have known a few crew members who have got fired for either being drunk at work or going over the limit when they were off duty. Racism. Now, this will probably go without saying because there's so many different nationalities on board. I have never met a racist person on board in my life. To be honest, I don't think you could work on board if you were racist. You'd have a really hard time because everyone's from everywhere. But nevertheless, if you are accused of saying something racist or found out to have said something racist, then it's pretty much immediate termination for you. Fraternising with the passengers. So you are not allowed to sleep with the passengers basically, but this also extends to social situations. So it does happen, especially on long cruises, that you will form relationships with passengers. I mean like friendships, you know, you'll get quite friendly with them. And sometimes they'll ask you to go to dinner with them, maybe them and their family, or come and have a drink with us after you finish your shift. And that is fine as long as your manager is aware of it. You have to make your manager aware of the fact that they've invited you out for a drink with them after work, or they've invited you to dinner. Obviously, if you're not working, you can go. You are absolutely not allowed to go in their cabin unless it's your family member who's cruising. But if these are just random passengers who you've ended up getting on really well with, you are not allowed to go in their cabin. Obviously, you are not allowed to sleep with them or go out with them in port. You have to keep it strictly professional. And if you are found to have slept with a guest or gone in their cabin or even slept with them out in port, maybe you've got a hotel out in port and slept with them, yes, you guessed it, you will be fired. Bullying. So working in such close quarters with people and also not being able to ever really leave work, it's so important that there is a harmonious relationship between crew members. And the cruise line will pretty much do anything to protect that. So if you're found to be bullying someone, then it's not going to end well for you. And the thing that really stuck out to me in all the bullying trainings that we've had to do over the years is it's not about what you say, it's about how someone takes it. And obviously, because there are so many different nationalities on board, something that I wouldn't find offensive, someone from China might find extremely offensive. So you do have to watch what you say to some people, because I know someone who got in trouble for bullying, but if he'd have said the same thing to me, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. However, he just said it to the wrong person. Now, I'm not saying that their feelings weren't valid. Of course they are. And if they felt offended, you know, by all means. But what I'm trying to say is, it's not about what you say or the intent behind it. It's about how it's interpreted. So you might not mean anything by a certain comment. However, if it is interpreted the wrong way, then, you know, you can get in serious trouble. Now, obviously, there are some assholes on board who are trying to bully you. That is the intent behind the comments. However, there is some people who innocently say something and it's taken the wrong way, and all of a sudden you've got a case of bullying on your hands. This can be really difficult for people who are sarcastic. A lot of English people are sarcastic, and a lot of people who aren't from England do not get it. And there is really nothing worse than saying something sarcastic and the other person doesn't get that it's a joke, they don't actually mean it. So if you are an incredibly sarcastic person, then you might want to rein that in before you go on cruise ships. Sexual harassment, once again, this goes without saying, but yeah, if you are found to have sexually harassed someone, then you will be fired. Now, this could be making comments, it could be feeling someone up, it could be as extreme as rape, but either one of these things will result in you getting fired. And just to note, if you are on a cruise ship and you do get sexually harassed, it is really important that you bring it to the attention of the cruise line. The only way that, you know, you can stop sexual harassment is by shedding light on it. Bribing. So if you are found to be bribing someone, that is automatic termination. Now, when I say bribing, I mean I'll give you a promotion if you do X, Y, and Z. It could be sexual favours, they could ask you to pay them, it could be all sorts of things, but bribing is absolutely not allowed on board. And once again, if you are being bribed, you have to report it to the security team and they will take it from there. Stealing, another obvious one, maybe not so obvious, but yes, if you are caught stealing from the casino, from the shops on board, from the spa, from the art gallery, from anywhere, if you are caught stealing, you will be fired. And there's really no need to steal because you get a discount on everything when you're a crew member, so just buy it. Drugs. There is a zero tolerance for drugs on board. Obviously, I'm aware that alcohol is a drug, but that's the only drug that's allowed. Every other drug is completely not allowed, banned. So yeah, if you are found to be high as a kite, or, you know, having drugs on board, maybe, or drug trafficking, then yeah, you'll be fired and put in prison. And they do random drug tests, and they do bring sniffer dogs on embarkation day quite regularly. So yeah, to be honest, I don't know anyone that's got in trouble for drugs. I've never even heard of anyone getting in trouble, so it's not a very common thing. But you know, if you are someone who takes drugs recreationally and you want to go and work on a cruise ship, then you will absolutely not be allowed to do that when you get on board. Exchanging. So you have a lot of people who are from different departments, and something that is quite common, it does happen, is an exchange of things. So for example, a spa therapist and a restaurant manager. The restaurant manager says, I'll give you free sushi if you give me a massage. And they're exchanging, but there's no, obviously you would usually have to pay for sushi and you would usually have to pay for a massage, but because they're doing an exchange between themselves, there's no money going through the company. So of course, if you are found doing this, it is a big no-no. And it can be very tempting when someone is offering you free sushi for the next month, or I'll do your laundry for the next month, or I'll give you a massage, or I'll buy you this perfume. But just don't do it. It's really not worth it. If you get caught, you're in a whole load of poop. So just don't do it. So everything I've mentioned are fireable offences, but depending on how lenient that particular ship is, your manager, the captain, might result in you getting a warning, and if you get 3 warnings then you get fired. But every cruise ship differs, you know, some cruise ships you'll have a very strict captain and others a little bit more lenient. It is ultimately up to the captain whether you get fired or not. It's nothing to do with your recruitment agency or anything. It's to do with the cruise line, and they usually pass it on to the captain and let him or her decide. But yeah, so when you get your job on board cruise ships, just avoid doing everything I've just mentioned and you'll be absolutely fine. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. If you have, please press the like button and the subscribe button, and if you have any questions or video suggestions, you can leave them in the comments down below or DM me over on Instagram at CruisingAsCrew. But thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Love to you all, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.